Let's speak to Aniseh Bassiri Tabrizi. She's a research fellow at the Royal United Services Institute, joining us from London. Thanks for speaking to us. So at the time of his last waiver in January, President Trump said that would be his last. And the next sanction waiver is scheduled for May the 12th. What will the president do then?
Good question. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I think the broad expectation was that the deadline was a way for Trump to push the EU to work in collaboration with Congress to find a way to fix what are the perceived weaknesses of the deal, namely the ballistic missiles, the inspections, and the so-called Santa Claus. And I think the impression was that there was progress made by the two sides in discussing these issues, and that some sort of agreement would have been found, and therefore the likelihood of May 12 as not being a threat for the survival of the deal was decreasing quite dramatically. That perception changed with the nomination of Bolton and Pompeo recently. And the broad perception is that now the Trump administration might be more inclined towards reimposing the unilateral sanction from the US and therefore putting the JCPOA under severe threat.
So just for the sake of clarity, though, if Trump does not renew the sanctions relief, that doesn't necessarily kill the deal as a whole.
It doesn't. However, it puts it under severe pressure, especially for the European side, because what has been so far the reaction of Iran is that even if the US withdraws from the JCPOA, which is what de facto would happen on May 12th if they reinstate the sanction, Iran would still comply under its obligation if this meets its national interest. So what it means is that basically the EU, together with Russia and China, probably would need to draft a package that is appealing enough for Iran to continue to comply with the deal, even if the US reimposes the sanctions that we know would hamper severely the prospect for investment and trade, especially for the European side, to increase.
Okay, and just help us understand this. When Trump says that Tehran has violated the spirit of the deal, how so?
Well, we know that on the concrete matters of the deal, there is no real evidence that Iran violated the deal. As it was correctly mentioned at the beginning of the report, the IAEA has referred to 10 times to the compliance of the Iranian side to its own obligations. So even when Trump decertified the deal in October 2017, he couldn't really say that Iran didn't comply with its own obligation. What he said instead is that the lifting of sanctions from the US side was not proportionate to the steps taken by Iran to curb its own nuclear obligation, which is a way to say there is not enough evidence to say that Iran violated the deal. So they are now referring to the spirit of the deal instead, which means basically issues which are broadly considered outside of the nuclear issue, such as the missile issue, which is not a matter which is under the JCPOA in a strictly speaking term.
Okay, we'll leave it there. We thank you very much for your time with us on Al Jazeera. Thank you.